What up, though? So I ain't really expecting to do a live per se. I just didn't know how to record a video that I could easily drop to social media without having to record a video first. And I didn't feel like doing all that recording shit, so I figured I could do a live right here and I can turn it into a reel or whatever, right? That's how that works. So, and I'm only doing it because Mike Epps has a clip going around from the Jim Jones podcast that he was recently on. And in the clip, he is saying, basically, stop celebrating niggas that got out the joint. Like, the nigga got caught, the nigga did some stupid shit, he went to prison, like throwing parties and giving niggas presents and putting them on their feet, and all of that is basically stupid. We shouldn't do it, and our culture is backwards for doing that, and all of that. That was the gist of the video, and I'll probably at some point like share the video because I do have it somewhere. And I had been getting tagged in that clip on Instagram, and even a couple times on Facebook I got tagged in it. So people have been wanting me to say something because of the way that they recognize my stance on mass incarceration being, and I respect that, I appreciate that. That being said, though, I waited until now to speak on it because I believe I understood what he was saying in a way that the people that were tagging me didn't. They expected me to feel offended by what he was saying, I think. And that was not the way that I felt. And basically, I just saw a video on Instagram that Mike just did in respect to that clip that's floating around. And what he said was, what you heard is not necessarily the spirit of what he was saying. In this new video, and I shared it on both of my pages, he was saying, I'm not telling people that, like, it's not a traumatic thing to lose a person and for them to come back to society. What he was saying is, we don't want to give the mixed message to children, and specifically our black boys and girls, right, who deal with mass incarceration on a direct level, whether it's because they got a parent or a sibling or somebody that's locked up, or because they are going through it themselves, right? I 100% understand and respect where he was coming from when he said not to celebrate that, because the reality is, too many times or too much, it appears like it's a celebration. But it is not, and I don't believe that that is the spirit of what's actually happening. When I was released from prison, I got a lot of celebratory attention coming home, but I don't think that it was because they were happy that I had gone to prison and were celebrating me for that. In large part, I believe what was going on is my people were celebrating the fact that they had me back. Prison is a traumatic thing, and more than the trauma of like going and what it feels like for the individual that goes, I'm more so talking about for the family that loses that person. I know a lot of people who will see this video or who are watching now will say, you know, you chose to go to prison, nigga, you the one committing the crimes or whatever that it takes for you to go to prison. And to a large extent, I will give you that. I'm not going to say that going to prison was not something that I did based on choices that I made, right? What I will say and what I will always center and acknowledge is that, let me see how I want to word this, right? Because there's a way to say it. I recognize that there are systemic issues in the United States of America that And if I'm not even talking about, like, people will love to say, you want to blame it on white people and back to slavery and all that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, like, in the last 40 years, the 40 years that I've been alive. We've had the war on drugs, which is essentially the war on black and poor communities, that I was directly affected by, right, in many ways. Then somewhere inside of that war were what were later called like truth and sentencing laws, or like tough on crime laws, wherein we, as the children that grew up in the 80s and 90s, were called super predators. And they were given, every state in the country was given jurisdiction to give us life in prison for crimes and decisions that have now been overturned by the Supreme Court as being cruel and unusual punishment, because children don't develop until their adulthood, until their complete mind state, until 25. So, like, on top of that, the welfare system and the way that cut into the black family and the poor communities, right? Like, there are things that systemically happened that made it a lot easier for the people that happened to make the decisions that landed them in trouble. I don't give a damn who you put these challenges in front of, what group of people you put them in front of. They are going to systematically end up in jails and prisons more so than their counterparts. There's no way you can put 50 liquor stores in a community and gun stores in a community and, like, infest drugs in a community, compound laws that directly affect a specific community, then compound that with over-policing a specific community, and expect there not to be more people from that community incarcerated. That being said, I know for a fact, I don't even need, like, science or data or anything to break down the fact that I recognize that black people don't commit more crime than everybody else. I know that. I don't even bring out no data to back that up. And what I also know is the majority of the prison yards that I was on were majority black owned, like black run, black filled. Everything was black people. So much so that it was damn near like a reverse racism in prison, where the white boys got to do what we allowed them to do. And other than that, we had control. And that tells me that for us to be a majority in there, but the extreme minority outside, there is a systemic reason why we're going into prison. So I say all of that to say, your cousin Pookie, your cousin JoJo, your cousin, your brother, your whoever that keep going back to jail, or who you think just don't get it, it ain't all his fault. It ain't all her fault. Some shit happened to them when they went the first time. And every time after that, something has gone on mentally that has changed them. And nothing has happened that would help them to heal based on having gone through those traumas. So I say all of that to say, I agree. You shouldn't be celebrated because you came home from prison. But if you have a support system of people who are able to surround you and wrap around you, then you need that. It ain't got nothing to do with celebration. It's about the fact that you're coming back to the community anyway. Large part of the re-entry problem is, and the recidivism problem is, people act like once you go to prison, you gone for the rest of your life. And the reality is most people that go to prison is coming back. And not only are they coming back, but they coming back to the same hood that they left or wherever their people was at. And if nobody considers how they will come back, then you're essentially setting them up and setting up your community to continue that cycle. Now, you can't tell me that's no damn accident, right? So, that is my take on what the brother said, I guess. Like, by and large, I just wanted to speak to that video because it has been a thing that has my attention been getting drawn to, and that I have been expected to speak to. So I just wanted to go ahead and say something to that. And I think all of what I just broke down is what I say to that. Like, yeah, I agree. You are not supposed to be celebrated because you went to prison. And I think it'll probably be a longer conversation that I want to have with some other formerly incarcerated people and maybe even some of the family. So, because the reality is, hell, there is a level of celebration that's expected and deserved. Shit. I went to the penitentiary and I became a better person. I went to the penitentiary and changed my life. I changed who I was. I changed the trajectory of the way that my family was going to go. Shit, we was going to be in a cycle of this had I not became who I became in the penitentiary. So, shit, I don't know. It'll basically be needing more conversation to figure out. But yeah, I support what the brother said, and I really support what he did afterwards, because I appreciate him coming back, doing the video to clarify what he meant when he made that statement. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like I said at the beginning, I was just trying to figure out how to make a long form video that I could turn into a reel and drop this as a response to that. So I don't know what time it is. Free to Reel. I got 2 new episodes of the podcast out right now, so check those out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc., etc., etc. I know I'm supposed to do the video. Crackalack said I need to do the videos. He say the audio is not going to be enough, so I'm going to get with Crack on that. But yeah, Free to Reel. Appreciate you, TT.